Welcome to Gematria 103. Today we're going to look at the quarterbacks and how they may influence the game. Before we had looked at the coaches integrating with the date and time, and so let's look and see what happens when we start adding more data. Again, you want to look at some of the trends and everything that are going on so that if you start picking your teams, you can see better what's going on. Sometimes it adds confusion, but a lot of times you come back to where the date and how that matches up with the team and team names seems to end up being a pretty good sounding board. So if we look at up here, let's go up here with Jack Del Rio, Connor Cook, you'll see that we have the date just by the numbers is 1, and then by adding 7 we have 8, so those are both Jewish, and then January, remember, ends up being in English and simple, adding 8, or being a 9 and 9, adding that. So now Jack Del Rio matches the Jewish, Connor matches the English. And again, remember here, the Raiders and Oakland Raiders match Jewish. So you have, it's still getting a pretty pronounced Jewish, which ends up being death to the team. And here, again, the Texans had the 9, and there's really nothing coming out. The other thing I look at is the birthday of the quarterback, and you can see where Brock Osweiler's birthday 6 really has no match, and that birth date I do simply as numbers. I don't go and work with the gematria of the month. So if we go down to the next game with the Detroit Lions, with Jim Caldwell, now Matthew Stafford with a birthday that adds up to 6, you see how his birth date here ends up matching the Jewish 6. And 135 is not in the 8, 6, or 7. And there's no other match other than the date Jewish matches his simple there. So you have kind of a 2 birth date and his number matching there. And with Pete Carroll, they have an English. So again, we're getting more support of lines with the Jewish and the Seahawks having that simple and English now. Getting a little stronger with the English. I find that the simple isn't as big of an influence in the games historically of what I've seen. And if we go down to the Dolphins-Steelers game, where we now add Matt Moore, and I didn't have his birth date, so I didn't calculate that, but now with Matt Moore, his number 5 is matching that Jewish. So now we end up with another Jewish number, where before, remember, the Dolphins and Steelers, they only had the 4, which is kind of a simple, and additional here with the simple with Mike Tomlin, not real strong. What we did see is that now the Jewish is definitely an influence in on this game, and hence why the pick of the Steelers over the Dolphins. And then finally, when you look at the Giant-Packer game, again, here we have the 3, the 1, the 2, and the 2. Now Manning is matching the Jewish with his 3. So getting even more of an influence of the game there with the Packers. And also with the Packers, they have that English connotation with Rodgers. So now here you're getting this Jewish English set up. So now we start to see a little bit more, and we can really see the influences in the game. We go over when you put Matthew Stafford in. I'll just do that as we're going to the calculator. Remember, you use the calculator. It's a lot easier than trying to add up all the numbers, on paper or in your head. And here you have a 1481, which ends up being 14 or 5. And Matt Stafford is 5 and 3. There you have 4, 1, 5, 12 or 3, and then 8. And that's 178, 179. which 17 or 8. And remember, the birth date is just adding up the month, day, and year that they were born and giving that. So, kind of a short 103 again, but I'll be back tomorrow with 104, getting into some more enlightenment on what's going to be happening in tomorrow's game. Take care.